Greetings, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time in the world, this beautiful planet you may be. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leader with Heart podcast. Tonight, I have another great guest for us. My new good friend Haran from Melbourne, Australia. We were connected to an incredible lady I had on my podcast not long ago, Sarah Ripper, also from Australia. And that's the thing I really love about this podcast is connecting and having incredible conversation with amazing human beings and in turn connect me to other people. And I just love doing that. And tonight we have the pleasure of talking to Haran. Haran is an incredible man with a beautiful journey, beautiful story. I will let him tell his story, so I don't want to butcher it. But from what I understand, there's a short summary is originally from Sri Lanka, immigrated to Australia a few years ago, and now he's doing healing work. He something very amazing. He went to India to live and be like a monk, but instead he found that it's not for him. It came back to Australia and instead to be a counselor to have a bigger impact close to home. And now he's helping professionals find fulfillment in life and the life purpose and to get aligned to their higher self. So Haran, my good friend, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. That was a big introduction. Thank you for that.
Very
Thank
welcome.
you for welcoming me. Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure. Very welcome. Pleasure's all mine. So before we start, so people who don't know you, who's Haran?
Wow. I'm yet to find out who's Haran actually.
Mm,
So that's my search. So I'm still, trying to self-realize. I'm going through that journey, and that's a good question. Where when I was going through my spiritual journey, even though when I got caught up with my depression and I used to be suicidal and all that,
mm,
I used to think I was my mind or I was my body, I was all these things. That was the three-dimensional reality for me
mm,
at that time. But that was the only reality that I knew because I was so
mm,
caught up in my misery. But when I started getting into my spiritual life, into my spiritual journey, there was a time that I had this particular experience. This experience was, I haven't really shared this with you, Payman, actually. What happened was I was in an ashram, I was going through this particular spiritual practice. All of a sudden, I couldn't really differentiate myself and I couldn't differentiate the people around me. And I couldn't
mm,
differentiate the plants around me. I couldn't differentiate the rock around me. I was everywhere. So it was
mm,
like I've read about these oneness experiences and all that, but for the first time in my life, I actually lived that. I experienced it, and I was in bliss. It's very difficult to describe it. I try to explain it to certain people, and then they all understand it and I try to understand it in their own ways. So it's very hard to explain it. It's almost like the closest I can say is it's almost like you're having orgasm, like every cell is having an orgasm for a long period of time.
wow.
And you're getting so blissed out. And I was in tears of bliss, actually. I couldn't contain myself. So I was actually going through that journey and I experienced that. And then after that, with some of these practices, I was able to experience that on a regular basis as well. And then I went through different journeys as well, experimenting a few different things. And then 4 years ago, I came back deciding that I really don't want to become a monk. I would rather be with people, helping people with the knowledge that I have. So I'm also a qualified counselor. Also a hypnotherapist, NLP trainer, and also have timeline therapy and so many other qualifications as well.
Beautiful.
So all that, I thought, why don't I use that to really impact more people? Because I wanted to become a monk to make changes in people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to do. And also self-realize and God-realize as well. But I thought with what I have, I can probably do that as well by myself. And I can also at the same time take people through, and then I can also make bigger impact in this world as
Mm-hmm.
well. So that is who's Haran at the moment, according to me, where my mission, life mission, is to help people who have been affected by war in Sri Lanka, helping war widows and helping orphan kids, and also people who have lost their limbs as well. And saying that, I'm also expanding my mission as well. I want to do a lot of work with the Aboriginal communities in Australia, and then I want to do more projects as well around the world. But it
Okay.
takes time. I have those
Sure.
in plan. But the thing is, that is me in a nutshell.
Lovely. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But first, the type of conversation I like to have on my podcast is sure, we're going to talk about your professional, achievements and titles. But what I'm mostly interested in is to look under the hood, so to speak, to see what's in your heart, to have a heart to heart conversation. So let's start with that to get to know, because it doesn't matter what type of business you're in, whether you're a coach, a counselor, e-commerce, or even selling hot dogs and ice cream down the street. We're all in the same business, which is we are people's business. People love doing business with people they can connect, they can relate with. So to do that, let me ask you first some question to get to know who is the real Haran. So tell us, as a human being, as a person, not as a professional, as a person. So tell us, what makes you happy?
Wow, what makes me happy? I think for me, when you ask me that question, I'm reflecting it, because I don't look at it as something is making me happy. Because when you're asking me that what is making you happy, is you are focusing externally, but what is happiness is within me. So
Mhm.
I'm tapping into that. Since I experienced that oneness that I was just talking about, that itself is actually bringing out that happiness within me. So most of the time I'm happy. So if something happens externally, if, for example, if somebody's doing something or whatever happens outside, some people ask me, don't you getting angry or sad or whatever? I do. I'm a human being. I get emotional, but then I'll bounce back like within a few minutes or a few seconds, because I
Awesome.
have the tools, and I also know how to tap into that part of me that is within me
Mhm.
already. So the happiness is within me. It's not something is going to make me happy. That's my reality.
Awesome. Love that. Now, what makes you smile?
What makes me smile? I think, jokes and even certain things happening around the world. And I smile, and I don't like to take life too serious. I don't like to take myself too serious either. I think if I reflect back, I was a very serious person because of my life experiences. But what makes me smile is, all these simple things, even looking at the sun, looking at the flowers outside, looking at the animals playing. And, when I just went out for a walk, looking at these dogs just running around and playing,
Mhm.
it makes me smile. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, tell us, what makes you come alive?
What makes me come alive? I think I am alive, and realizing and living that passion, and also helping people. That's my passion and mission as well, like I was talking about, where every time I'm actually living my purpose, every time I'm being raw and authentic, every time I'm being in integrity with myself. When I say with myself, I'm being true to myself. So since that oneness experience, everybody's me as well. So being honest and having that integrity, all that is actually bringing me alive.
Fabulous. Love that. Now, tell us, what makes you sad and angry?
Hmm. What makes me sad is that ignorance, where
Mm.
most people are caught up in their misery, and then they're so set in their own way of doing things, and they know it's not working, but then they still hold on to it strongly. And then for a lot of people, it's their ego as well. It doesn't allow them to reach out for help, but then they will stay and cry and all that. Like, for example, a couple of months ago, I think 2 or 3 months ago, maybe, someone tried to kill herself.
Oh,
Well, she
wow.
took, not trying to, but she took poison. And then they know what I do. Her husband is one of my clients as well. So he told her to go and see me. She didn't want to come, but then because she took poison, she came to see me. Then I had a chat. I said, let's, she said, yeah, let's do this, Haran. And then she just ghosted me after that. Looking at that, making me sad because I know until you deal with a real problem, it's going to come back again and again and again. But the thing is, people want to run away from the problem thinking that it's going to go away, but it's going to come back and affect you. And if you don't deal with the problem, it's going to affect your children because you're going to pass it down to your children because children inherit your problem if you don't deal with it.
Sure.
So that makes me
Sure.
sad, actually. And what makes me angry is probably almost very similar thing as well. Like when people don't take responsibility and they run around like this and ignore their problem, thinking that, and then also when people don't have integrity and then they don't respect, those things really, I wouldn't say it makes me angry. It makes me get frustrated sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I hope that Sarah and people like her, they can find, the answers inside of themselves and find the patience to overcome what they're going through. Because I can imagine it's not, it's very very hard. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So, so tell us now, what scares you?
What scares me is that, when I think about people living in ignorance again, like they don't want to take responsibility, they live like that, and also it affects the whole world around them as well.
Hmm.
So people, for example, if they feel depressed, they say I am depressed, but then, if you look at some of the latest neuroscience and all that, they prove that you don't have to be depressed. There are different ways to come out of it. There are new studies coming out, but then people are so caught up, and then they would say, even the other day I was talking about this with someone, and then this guy said, oh, this is because of the hormonal imbalance and all that. Yes, but then there are different ways to even get that hormones to be produced in your body, secrete in your body. But the thing is, people are so caught up with the old science that came out 1950s or whatever, and
Yeah.
that really scares me because people don't want to really learn about what are the new science out there that is really helping, but they're so caught up in their problem. That scares me.
Yes, that is scary indeed. Now, what would you say is your personal superpower?
My personal superpower, I think I came from a place of love, and that is important to me. And whatever happened, I am more about other person. Yes, I like to be respected, loved, and all that as well. And at the same time, when I'm working with people or when I'm connecting with people, I give myself 100%. And if I can't do that, then there's no point. That's how I feel. And so my superpower is genuinely wanting to help people and being there for them as much as I can. That's my superpower.
Love that. We're going to talk about that in a moment, but first, let me ask you now some fun questions and take you
Yeah.
on a trip down memory line. When we were kids, primary school, middle school, people around us, parents, family,
Yeah.
teacher, friend, they always ask us, so Aran, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer back then?
Wow, it kept on changing. It kept on changing. But yeah, when I first in my childhood, I think I wanted to become a doctor when I was a
Mhm.
child. I think it's also my parents' influence as well. I think it's not
Mm.
really my personal thing. And then as I grew older, I was a very good sprinter. So I
Oh, wow.
participated in district level as well, where I had a dream of, even being an awesome sprinter on a big level as well. So that's what I wanted to do, even, going for Olympics and all that as well.
Really? Wow.
That was my dream as well. But then later on, then, because of the war and all that, I grew up in Sri Lanka in the
Okay.
war zone. So because of the war, we couldn't really follow that. Then
Hmm.
it kept on changing, and the other than becoming a sprinter, all other goals that I had in my life is all about helping people and doing something with people. Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, when you were in school as a boy, what was your favorite subject in school?
Wow. My favorite subjects is my mother tongue, actually Tamil.
Mm,
That was my favorite subject. And I also loved science as well, science,
mm,
and I love history as well. So those are my favorite subjects. Yeah.
Inquisitive mind there. Wow, that's awesome. And what was your least favorite subject in school?
Least. That was a difficult question. I guess um, if you look at it as a subject, we have to do drawings at
Oh
school.
yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm okay with drawing, but when you actually sit for exams, there's theoretical part of it as well. So they will ask you, where is this from? What sort
Okay.
of techniques it's involved, and all these questions. And then there's no actual guidelines or textbooks for this particular subject. So most of us don't even know how to do it, so we just pass just drawing, and then the theoretical part we didn't know how to do it. So that was I didn't really enjoy it because of that.
Okay, awesome. Now, let's move forward. Looking back at the time that you left school to now, how would you describe your path? Would you say once you get into one line, was it straight sailing, smooth forward, very linear, or was it like turns and twists and change like a roller coaster?
It was a big roller coaster, big roller coaster.
It's much more fun
Yeah,
that way, eh?
yeah, it was a big roller coaster. Growing up in the war zone, I've seen people dying, and I've lost a lot of
Mm,
my friends and relatives as well, and escaping the
yeah.
country, came to Australia as a refugee. Actually, when I came to Australia as a refugee, was difficult as well because I didn't know the language. I could kind of manage with English because
Mm-hmm.
English was one of the language in Sri Lanka where we have to learn. But learning a language as a subject and then actually
Oh,
using
absolutely.
that to speak is totally different, right? So when I came here, I could sort of manage, but I didn't really speak English that much. And then after 1 year, I became very suicidal, and I was so depressed and suicidal. I was cutting myself, and I was suicidal as well. And then,
What
few
made
years,
what? Sorry, what made you be depressed and suicidal?
there's few different things. When you go through war, I don't know if you heard
Mm,
about trauma and how trauma can affect you. So
yes.
mainly it was trauma, and then there were some other triggers as well, where the
Mm,
relationship didn't work, where I was feeling lonely because I was by myself. I was only 18 about around that time, so I was lonely as well. I didn't know anyone here. There's so many triggers as well, so the
mm,
trauma just manifested into all that. So around that time, I didn't even know what to do because in our countries, they don't really talk about mental health in Sri
mm,
Lanka and all that.
sure.
And when I came, I didn't really have much knowledge about it. So I didn't know what to do. And I never talked about it with anyone. And then when I was around, a few years later, I reached out to psychologists and psychiatrists. It never really helped me. Then
Mm,
later, I reached out to a life coach, and she really helped me. And that's why I decided later, even though around that time I was doing my business degree, later on, I decided to study counseling. And then I also learned life coaching as well, learning all other tools as well and getting certified. So it's been
wow,
a roller coaster because of that, and it hasn't been easy. Yeah.
awesome. And then you said you went. Tell us about the time that we're gonna talk about all of this area, how you overcame depression and all that in a moment. But first, you mentioned that you also went to India to become a monk. Tell us about that.
Yeah, yeah. So what happened was just after I got out of my depression, I was looking for like meditations and things like that. And I was kind of
Mm-hmm.
slowly getting back into, as a child, I was introduced to yoga and meditation. So I used to do it. But then in my teenage years, I kind of let it go.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be cool like everyone else, right? So you don't
Sure,
want to
of
do
course.
it.
Yeah,
So, anyways, then after I came out of my depression, I was looking for it again. And then one of my friend told me about this particular meditation group that they were running like free full moon meditations. So I thought I would go there and check it out. And then I just went there. It was the meditation was just beautiful. They called it Twin Hearts meditation. It was activating your heart center and the crown center. So the meditation, I was so blissed out. I was really loving it. And then at the end of the meditation, they gave me free healing. I didn't really experience anything with their healing. It's called pranic healing. But the thing was, like, I really loved the meditation. And then I kept on going there. After a few healings, I realized I started feeling the energy as well, and the moving, energy, how it's moving and all that. Then I decided, oh, I want to probably learn that, so I can help people. And I started learning it. And I also got rid of my own back pain and a lot of other issues that I had. Even I was a very chronic asthmatic. Then I still have asthma, but compared to before and now, it's like only 10% is there at the moment. But all other issues that I had was just gone. So personally, I started experiencing how powerful this healing is. So I started, helping people with healing, and also combine my life coaching and, counseling and all that as well. And then I was teaching meditation, and then I also got certified into teaching that particular healing modality as well. So I started kind of teaching that as well. So through that, I started really experiencing, I started seeing auras and chakras, and how when we are working with people, just doing certain spiritual work, you get rid of their problem. And then I was able to, this is going into another dimension where a lot of people don't even have the access to it, I guess. But I was able to connect with people's guides and guardian angels, and really connect on a different level. And even like I will be sitting with, it doesn't happen to me all the time, but I'll be sitting with people. All of a sudden, I know exactly what's going on for them. Like if they have pain on their right leg, for example, I'll be telling them, oh, is there a pain on your right leg? And they'll be like, oh, how do you know? And then sometimes I also started hearing things as well, like when people are thinking certain things, it started happening somehow. And then there were times I started experiencing had out of body experiences and things like that as well, where I was able to see myself lying down, and I was able to see myself going and then traveling into different places and things like that as well. And then that really allowed me to really experiment more and more about my soul and who I am as a person. Am I like just a physical being? Am I a soul? And who am I and why I'm here? So I became so curious about that. So that kind of led me, during that time, what happened was, when I was meditating at one point in my life, there was a monk. He doesn't look like a monk, but he would just come in front of me. He had a turban, he had a beard. He would come in front of me, he will stay there and he'll stare at me. And then in the beginning, I wasn't too sure. I thought I was hallucinating. He will start laughing. Yeah. And then later on, I became familiar, I wanted to ask him, because this started happening more and more. So I looked at him, I started asking him a question. And then one day, one of my friends told me that there's someone coming here from India, would you like to come and visit him? And then I said, normally I don't go and see these gurus and anyone like that. But I said, oh, why don't you send that information to my email? And then she forwarded to my email. And then I opened the email account, and then there's a flyer with the same person who was coming into my meditation. And until then, I never saw this person. And I was like, wow, I had, goosebumps, I had chills. And I was like, wow, who's this? And then I started looking at him on YouTube and everywhere. And then I was so crazy about, what he was teaching and all that. And then I went and did his first level, where he came to Melbourne, actually, where I did his program. Personally, I didn't experience anything, maybe because I was already practicing a lot of meditations and a lot of other things as well. I think I didn't really experience anything in the first level, but then I really had that strong pull towards, going there and doing something. Then when I went to India to their ashram, I was doing this particular program, and all of a sudden what happened to me was I couldn't really differentiate between me and another person. And I couldn't really
Wow.
say that this is me and that is another person. I couldn't say this is me, this is a rock, this is me, that's a plant. I couldn't say it. I felt like it's all just one. It's all just me. It's just me. So I'm talking about I'm becoming very emotional. Sorry. So it's
Beautiful.
all of a sudden it's
Mhm.
just I'm everywhere. I was everywhere, and I was in so much tears, blissed out, and I couldn't contain myself.
So
And then when I
when you're feeling that connection, was that in your awakened state, or was that when you were meditating that you were feeling one with everything and everyone around you?
yeah, I was awake, totally awake.
Oh
I
wow,
was awake. Yeah, I was totally awake, and it's
that's
just
amazing.
certain practices that we do. It just allows you to just break free and kind of expand and then experience that. That's what I experienced. And then after that, I came back and I continued to practice all that. Then I realized that I want to actually go back and live there, and I want to really dedicate my life to that. Rather than me doing counseling and coaching and try to tell people they don't have to struggle. If I can only help people to experience that, if I
Mhm.
can help people experience that, you don't have to teach them any commandments. You don't have to teach them about any religious scriptures. You don't have to tell them not to hurt someone. You don't have to tell people to love each other, because when
Mhm.
you experience that everybody is you wouldn't want to discriminate someone. You wouldn't really hate someone. You wouldn't really harm someone, right? You naturally feel that all that within you anyway. So I was thinking, rather than doing that, maybe I want to become a monk so I can, you know, share that knowledge with people. And then I went back and then I stayed there and I carried on. And then at one point I stopped feeling like I want to be there. And then I went through different journeys. I started traveling a lot in India and a few other places, wanted to learn more from different masters. And then at one point, I actually got into this cult as well in India. And then I just, around that time, that's when I actually realized that I already learned whatever I need to learn to really help people to experience that oneness,
Mhm.
to get aligned to that higher self. And I can do that. I don't have to be with a guru. I don't have to be with that anyone, because I already have those knowledge within me. And I realized I need to come back. I need to really work with people and build myself to be able to really help people on a deeper level, rather than staying in an ashram, just being very restricted and limited, because I couldn't really help people on a personal level. So where I felt like coming back, I was able to share my knowledge and wisdom and help people who really reach out to me as well. So now this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm doing coaching, but coaching is not just about coaching. My coaching is also about helping people to find that fulfillment, find their purpose, and also get aligned to their higher self, so they can live their life that they're meant to live, and really understand that they are not physical bodies, they are souls living, having a physical body experience. So
Beautiful.
that's my journey. Yeah.
Wow, what an amazing journey. I have a few questions. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I have so many questions. So the first one is, so you've had all these incredible abilities to tap into being, listening to, being clear audience, hearing voices, even to some extent, knowing what was going on in someone's life, even hearing their thoughts. Are those things that you were always born with, and add those skills with you since you were born, or those things that you learned along the way and that you improved and on in over the years, all those skills?
Very good question. Very good question.
Okay.
I think after I got into deeper into meditation, it just started happening. And saying that, one of my teachers says that We all have that capabilities. We've all been born with that. But it's our own limitations, our own fear actually stops us from actually experiencing that. So we are all capable of experiencing that. So I would say that I tapped into that is already within me.
So how long would you say, how long would it take for someone just that hasn't done that, but they're very interested into getting that? For example, myself, how long would it take for me to reach that level so I can tap into these hidden, incredible, capacities that I have?
Yeah, I like all your questions, and like,
Thank you.
see, when you say that how long it's going to take you,
Well, there is
it's
no,
about,
I mean, black and white answer. Depends for everyone, I
yeah,
guess. Okay.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because
Mhm.
thing is that one of my teachers said that we are like antennas. We are like
Exactly.
antennas where we can send signals and we can also receive signals as well. But the thing is, we are like rusted antennas. So the signals that you're sending is not clear. And when you're receiving the signals, it's not clear either. This rust that you have is your own negative emotions, and you're feeling worthless, you're living in fear, you're
Mhm.
holding on to your past issues. All that is your rust. So I would put a question back and say, how soon can you let go of all that? So if you can let go of all that, more you clear all that, easier for you to experience that, easier for you to really tap into that. That's what I realized, that more I became like, more I opened my heart rather than holding on to, where a lot of people can't even forgive someone. A lot of people would say, oh, I can't forgive someone. All these things actually going to hold you. It's not going to do anything to someone else. Forgiveness is a big thing where a lot of people don't really understand. Some people say, oh, I don't know if I can forgive that person. But the thing is, if you can't forgive, nothing's going to happen to the other person. It's not like you're punishing the other person, right?
Mhm.
By
Punishing
not forgiving.
yourself.
You are punishing yourself. You are actually draining your own energy just by holding on to that anger and resentment or whatever and hurt. So the more you hold on to it, it's going to drain your energy. And the forgiveness is actually a gift that you give yourself. It's not that you're giving it to someone else. Forgiveness doesn't really necessarily mean that you're going to hold hands and accept whatever they have done to you, but you gifting it to yourself and saying that I am worthy of this freedom. I'm worthy of this love. I'm worthy of this experiencing this divine within me. So allowing yourself to let go of all these things so you can actually live your life, because the other person is going to carry on living their life, whether you forgive them or not. It's not going to matter.
Yeah, I love the analogy you mentioned that we're just like antennas. So when we hold on to things, we don't forgive someone. It's not doing, as you said, them anything. It's actually punishing us because we're projecting like antennas, negative, vibration and frequencies out there, and we just attract more of those and more increasing, frequencies and more painful event that just reinforces those negative,
Yeah.
things. So wow. So that is incredible. So you mentioned also about doing out of body experiences. How did you how did you get into that? Are you
Well,
talking about astral projection, right?
yes, yeah.
Mm,
So that kind of started happening naturally because of my meditation, I think. But I haven't been successful recently. I think because I haven't been focusing more on that. But in the past, what happened when I started doing more and more meditation, I started experiencing it where I'll be lying down. For example, if I just lie down, I'll be just fully lying down. My body will be sleeping, but I'm fully awake. And then all of a sudden, I can see myself just coming out, coming out, and then I have different experiences, traveling. And then there were when I started doing that, I started experimenting, and as in I started asking myself what is happening to me and why this is happening and all that. And then I really found out that you can actually do it intentionally as well. You can actually do certain techniques and things like that, and then you can get out of your body. So I learned that as well later on. So I can actually do that, and then your body just comes out of your body. I mean, you come out of your body,
So
and then you can.
the first time that this happened to you, did you freak out? Did you get scared, or did that happen intentionally or unintentionally the first time?
No, I didn't freak out actually. I was actually so calm. I was, you know, the meditation, a lot of people talk about meditation, and then after you practice it for a while, you become meditative. So I felt like my brain wave was in a place where rather than in a beta wave, the beta wave is the waking consciousness where we are very analytical and all that, but my brain wave is normally, I would say, alpha or below that, normally alpha, I would say. So if you want to get out of your body, if you want to be able to do all those things, you need to be able to get to those levels as well. But it comes with practice. It's not going to happen overnight. You just need to get practice all those things as well. And then also why you want to do it as well. Some people just do it for the sake of it because they are just curious or it's fun or whatever. But then there are so many things that you can do when you get out of your body. You can also get in touch with your guardian angels or spiritual teachers from other dimensions, and then you can learn so many things as well. So rather than you
Wow.
just wait, because this is infinity, right, where we are living, this quantum field is infinite. So if you're just going to go around randomly, nothing's going to happen in your life. It's just you had an experience, you came back, you feel like, oh, I had this experience. So what? But if you can get out and then consciously learn something from your spiritual teachers or someone else and then bring that knowledge back, that's very powerful, where you can take your life to the next level.
So tell us about some of the incredible places you've visited, and as a result of that, and some of the incredible lessons you learned from your angel guardian or guides or whatever.
Wow. Where can I start?
I know it's a
Yeah, just recently what happened, I go out and do my breath work and some meditation. And I was doing this breath work, and then all of a sudden I just felt myself expanding. Yeah, just expanded. And then all of a sudden I sensed a presence of another being in front of me. And then I brought my awareness back in front of me, and then there's a being, beautiful being in front of me. And he was guiding me to do a particular meditation to activate my light body. So
wow.
this is about, I'm not allowed to share that with anyone yet. I can share that with someone when I prepare them to get to the next level. So these are the things you can experience where your guides or these certain light beings will get attracted to you when you're also serious about these things. And when you're also sensitive enough to really see and feel them and hear them, then you can actually get guidance, and then you can actually go to the next level. So there are so many different things I can talk about, even getting out and going and visiting your past lives and so many other things where past life, even a lot of people are curious about their past life, but a lot of people can't even handle their life now. Well, why do you want to go and revisit your past life?
Yeah.
So you only visit your past lives for a certain purpose. And when you're ready, you'll be able to see that as well. But the thing is, you need to be aware that this is not you just do it for fun, where it's
Mm.
about your growth, it's about your awareness, and you get awakened, and there's a lot of things can happen as well. If you're not really ready, if you're not really disciplined, it can also cause you problem as well. So that's why you need proper
Sure.
guidance times, and someone to guide you through this journey as well.
I mentioned about past life. That's a topic I've been extremely fascinated by over the past year. I've read anything I could, book after book. But before we get into that, just something that I wanted to ask you. You mentioned that we are just like you know, rusted antennas. Are you referring that by that to our pineal gland that is calcified, and we need to decalcify it so that we can get in touch with our third eye to really see to unleash our other, you know, incredible capacities? Is that what you were
Yeah,
referring to?
yeah, love that. Yeah, yes, that too. And
Mhm.
also, we also have energy centers, right? So we have chakras, we call it chakras. So the chakras also has its consciousness as well. It has capability to feel and
Mhm.
draw an energy, and it has consciousness as well. So even tapping into those things, and even tapping into different dimensions and all that. So all these, our energy bodies, we are not just physical body, we have auras, and we are in a different dimensions as well. So
Sure.
even being able to tap into that, but the pineal gland is going to help you. But the thing is, it's not just you just focusing on pineal gland. It's like, some people would say, oh, if you want to build an app, you just go and just work on your app. No, it doesn't happen like that. You have to work on your body fat, and
Everything
you
is
just have to
connected.
deplete
Yes.
body fat and work with everything at the same time
Hmm.
to be able to build your muscles and have that abs. Likewise, with these things as well, you can't just meditate on your pineal gland and expect something to happen. You have to have that discipline. You have to have certain guidance or whatever for people who have all from people who have already gone through this journey, to help you move those energies and get those centers to be awakened as well, so you become super sensitive to these energies. Hope that answers.
Oh yes, amazing. That's I just so for me, I'm fascinated by that. Yet the few times I tried to meditate, I can't because my mind just wouldn't shut down. I was going all over the place, and at times when I was trying to get quiet, I started freaking out. I said, "No, I don't want to get shut down. I don't want to get made." I'm almost like scared of what I will uncover. So is
Yeah.
that normal? And if yes or no, what tips would you have for someone like me that wants to meditate and get in touch with my inner, abilities, but yet I can't get my mind to shut down, and also I'm kind of anxious as to what I will uncover on the other side. So you have any tips on that?
Yeah, sure, sure. It is a lot of people ask this question as well,
Hmm.
where one thing we all need to realize is that don't try to quieten your mind. That's the important thing, because our mind or brain evolved through centuries or even millions of years.
Hmm.
So where we are now in our evolution is the most beautiful place where we are in at the moment. So you don't want to totally shut down or quieten your mind and all that. Don't focus on that. But instead of that, just going back a little bit, rather than trying to control. So controlling means you kind of trying to put a lot of pressure to your mind. The more you fight with your mind, more it's going to run around, and that's why they call it monkey mind. It's going to jump
Yeah.
around, and it's going to become so frustrating for a lot of people because of that. Because a lot of people actually try hard, and they like get angry and frustrated, and then they throw it away, and then they're like, oh, I can't meditate, I can't do it,
Yeah.
and they just go, because they have this intention, they have to control something, they have to stop something.
Hmm.
It's not about controlling, it's about surrendering. Yeah, surrendering is different to controlling it. So what you need to do is, when your mind goes away, realizing, oh, my mind is gone somewhere else. Okay, I can focus on that later, come back and bring your awareness to your breath, or bring your awareness to your third eye area, or bring your awareness to your heart center. There are different kind of meditation there. In the West, people only talk about mindfulness because it's clinically proven kind of thing. So everyone talks about mindfulness, but there are like hundreds and thousands different types of meditation to awaken these chakras and energy bodies and all these things as well. Your consciousness getting in, tapping into your consciousness as well. But the thing is, mindfulness will be a good place to start as well at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, I just had a thought that came to mind. Sometimes you said our mind goes in one direction, and if we follow that thought, we take into a different area in our minds. We picture things in our mind in a very vivid way. We feel it as if we're already there. Is that similar to out of body projection? Because I'm sure we all have had this case that we get into thinking, and all of a sudden, even though we're present here, when we're fully awake, you get taken to a time, whether it's past, present, future, even a particle time or scenario. You get there, it's so vivid, so real, that you start feeling it, you know, all the senses as if you were there, but you're still sitting here, but your mind is completely a different place. Is that similar to astral projection and out of body experience?
I think it's totally different. Where
Mm,
it's almost like you are there, you are experiencing it, and you
mm.
go outside and then you see something and you can validate it with people. There's also what do they call it? Scanning, from here, somebody look into another person's house or whatever, you can
Remote
scan the.
viewing.
Yeah, remote viewing as well. That's all. That is different. Tapping into different way of looking at it, like tapping into that and being in oneness, and you connecting to that, because when you are one, you are everywhere, right? So you can do it like that as well. That's how I connected anyway. Do that anyway. But from out of body experience, it's different. Out of
Mm,
body experience, actually, you actually see your body down there lying down. You can actually see a cord connecting
mm,
to you as well, and then you travel and you can go anywhere as well. And then with thinking about something, it's just you tapping into your memory. You know what I mean? You're tapping into your memory bank. That's totally different. But remote viewing, that exists as well. But
mm.
remote viewing is as actually, um, I experienced it through that oneness experience that I was talking about. So that only happened through that. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's fascinating. So now talking about, I'm telling you, this is a topic I'm extremely fascinated. We can talk for hours just about that. So when it comes to doing past life readings, how do you get into that?
Mm. So there's a couple of different ways to look at it. Yeah. One of the thing is, if there's a critique, how they're going to look at it. I'll answer that as well, because some people might be thinking that. So some people will be like, oh, how do we know it's even true? Well, there are some studies done where they actually, went back and checked in different places, and then they found
Mm,
evidence. Critics still argued, how about if they heard it from someone or read it somewhere, so they're just hallucinating that it's their past life or whatever. So you can argue for or against anything if you want to. And another thing is that as a coach, we do certain therapies and certain things. So even with hypnosis and things like that as well, you can actually tap into people's past lives. So when I first started my coaching business, past life regression is the most popular. So I had a lot of clients for past life regression when I first started, because people were curious, because I was
sure.
practicing. I was practicing from a center where they were selling crystals and things like that, and I was a hypnotherapist there, so people wanted to see me, and I did some healings there as well. So people wanted to see me for past life regression there, and weight loss and things like that as well. But the thing is that when you tap into your subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, you can actually go back, and whatever you're not meant to see, or whatever you're not ready to see, you won't be able to see it. Like sometimes there might be some trauma from the past, yeah, where it can be really difficult for you to really relive that moment or witnessing it. It can be so traumatic for you, so sometimes you won't be able to say it. And if you're really feel that calling for you to do it, and then you'll be able to do it. And then through meditation as well, you can really see past lives where, you know
Mm,
I've connected with people in my life, and I can see my past life with them and what happened
wow.
and all that. So it's not because I'm looking for it. but I can, if I'm ready to handle that, then it just comes to me. So that's how you can witness it.
You
That's
know,
how it's for me.
that's something that I'm also very, not only because I'm very attracted to that, I'm feeling that it's almost like unavoidable that at some time I will
Yeah,
get into that myself. Not only do past readings on myself, but even maybe study that to become a hypnotherapist and help other people do that. Is that something that? What are your thoughts on doing that? On becoming a hypnotherapist to to understand yourself, to understand what is blocking you, and also helping others not only to unblock what they have, but also I've heard of people using, you know, hypnosis and hypnotherapy to help them, not just to read their past life, but also to help. Especially, I was listening to a podcast. It was this guy, hypnotherapist, but he focused on one thing. He focused on helping very successful business people and poker player that are making a certain of money to get in a state of mind that is at optimum, so they can, you know,
yeah,
manage to stay there and get their business to the next level. He's working exclusively with 7 and 8 figure business people and poker players. So,
yeah,
and when I saw that and I heard that, I said, wow, hypnotherapy and hypnosis can be very, very valuable as a skill for high achievers and high performers, not just for past
yeah,
life, but also to get them in the ultimate state of mind so they can stay there and perform at the highest level. What are your thoughts
yeah,
on that?
yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are actually using it for high performance coaching as well. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that I know, and I use it as well. I actually coach a cricket club here.
Wow.
So I don't know how many people will be familiar with cricket. So cricket is a sport,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very popular in some part of the world. And so I'm actually coaching that. So part of that, I'm actually using hypnosis as well for them to tap into their highest potential. So getting into your past lives, that happened. Like I worked with someone long time back when I first started doing it. So one lady came to see me and she didn't really tell me everything about what happened to her. We started working and she was like, I just want to know about my past life, Haran. I'm struggling with something in my life. I'm feeling depressed. I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
know, I feel like it could be coming from my past life. She just kept on saying it. And I said, how do you know it is coming from past life? And then she said, well, as a child from my childhood, I've been like this. And I've seen psychologists, I've done so many different things. Nothing really helped me, and I feel like it could be past life. I want to see you, whether if you can help me. And then we started talking, and then we started doing, started working on it. And then I said, how about rather than looking at the past life, you want to have a look at past life as well. I can understand, I respect that, and at the same time, can you also look at the root cause of the problem? And she said, yeah, let's do that. And then we started working with that. And then I guided her to go into the root cause of the problem rather than the past life. And then she actually went 3 lifetimes back. And
Wow.
when she went 3 lifetimes back, she was actually she was a man, and he was a very poor man. And then he was stabbed and he died. And when he died, he felt relieved, where he felt relieved. And then the next lifetime, he was a she. And then
A sheep.
she was, yeah, he was a she as a
Oh, or she.
woman.
Oh, sorry, sorry. Okay, 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 okay.
So she actually had few children. She was a single mother, and then their house burned down. And then she was also struggling so much as well. And then when everyone died, she was already struggling so much, suffering so much because she couldn't afford to feed the children and all that.
Mm-hmm.
When she died, she felt a relief that she doesn't have to worry about anything. She said as she was leaving the body, she can actually feel that she felt relieved that there's no more sufferings anymore. And then now, then she came to now the lifetime. Now she was telling me, Haran, I never told you, but I was also suicidal. But now I understand where I was feeling like that because I had a belief if I only die that I can feel relieved. where if there's so many problems around me, I feel like I want to kill myself because I always felt like that in the past, in my past life. And then a few months later, she wrote me a big email saying, "Thank you, Haran. Since then, I've been feeling fantastic. Everything's gone. I feel so relieved. I feel like, I can start my life again." And she was about 70 years old around that time.
Wow.
So yeah, it was big for her. So this
No, it's
is
for,
how powerful it can be. Yeah.
so for someone to become an hypnotherapist, what is the process? Do you have to go, say, get a degree in psychology, and then from there go into hypnotherapy, or what is the process?
No, they can do it privately as well. So that means they can do hypnosis certification, diploma, advanced diploma. There are courses available. You can do it privately as well. And there are some universities offering those courses as well. So you can go to university and do that as well. Um, I would, I've done clinical hypnosis here. So and then also I have done some other courses, and then I became a trainer's trainer where I can certify people to
Mm,
become a hypnotherapist as well. So the thing is, what I would say is, first focus on your purpose, why you want to become a hypnotherapist. If you want to, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful tool to have. You can help
mm.
people, you can help yourself as well. It's a very powerful tool to have. And then if you just want to do past life, you can probably just go and see a hypnotherapist if you want to, and experience it for yourself and see if it's for you. And then if you really enjoy that, and then you can actually go and learn it for yourself.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful.